How's my hair look? Thank you. Hey there, I'm Ryan, and this is The Uneasy Romance. I get asked probably once a month, like, hey, you're a vinyl guy, right? I'm thinking about getting a turntable. What do you recommend? For those of you who are, let's say, vinyl curious, it can feel really daunting to figure out where to start. So, to keep myself from having to talk to actual people, which, as an introvert, I'm prone to dislike, shout out to my introverts, I thought it might be valuable to put together a basic, no-frills series for beginners on how to start collecting and enjoying vinyl, and some basic guidance if you have no idea where to start. If you already have a turntable and you want some guidance on great ways to source and shop for vinyl, that video is coming up next, so be sure to subscribe. Well, that's the setup, so without further ado, here is an absolute beginner's guide to getting started with vinyl in under 10 minutes. Okay, so you've decided vinyl is a format you'd like to add to your music listening repertoire, and congratulations on that. I think you've made an amazingly wise choice. Let's cover the absolute basics. After all, this is a video for absolute beginners. Okay, I want to address an elephant in the room, which will hopefully avoid any snarky commentary. Vinyl is not expected to be, nor intended to be, a complete replacement for listening to your music digitally. Vinyl is, by nature, intentional. You have to stop staring at your phone, get off your couch, and touch an actual object that makes sounds from grooves in a piece of plastic. So it actually makes you slow down and think about what you're listening to. And in that intentional action, I think there's joy to be found. I listen to tons of digital music on the go for its convenience because I can't really take my record collection on the subway. And I also listen to tons of music on physical media when I want to slow down and actually pay attention to an album. These things each have their own uses and benefits. You can do both. Stop making everything an antagonistic competition, people. Here's the great news. To get started, you legitimately only need two things. One, records, which we'll cover in another video, and something to play them on, namely a record player. As I mentioned, we're actually going to work on those two things in reverse order since records don't do you much good if you have nothing to play them on. I do see a lot of hipster stores trying to be extra hipster by having like, I don't know, a grid of vinyl up on one wall and like a row of skateboards up on the other. They usually sell clothes or really expensive shoes or nice pasta. Y'all know who you are. So what are your options for turntables? For simplicity, let's break this down into three basic tiers of turntable for someone just entering the market. And here's a spoiler, the middle option is the right one for most people. Well, a very popular choice, and one with an extremely low barrier to entry, is a so-called all-in-one. These are generally cheap, closable, portable players, usually with a small built-in speaker. There's a brand called Crossley, which you can find pretty much everywhere. These are usually exceptionally affordable, take up almost no space, and frankly are pretty cute. These are usually at a price that makes them feel like an easy impulse buy, and having a small footprint for your record player can seem really appealing, especially in space-constrained environments like city apartments like mine. They kind of fit anywhere, and they're a great conversation piece, and they make you look cool if that's all you're looking for. Sidebar, I also have a theory that these units probably kick in some sort of subconscious nostalgia for those Fisher-Price close-and-play record players I loved as a wee lad with the indestructible plastic discs that your dog probably chewed up. But I'm gonna be frank, and I'm probably gonna break some hearts here. Unless you're seriously living on like a top ramen kind of budget, I just do not recommend these all-in-one turntables, despite their quote, affordability. This may look like the easiest way to get in the front door, and it probably is, but the quality on these things is pretty dismal, both in terms of longevity and, more importantly, audio quality. And you're probably also running a non-zero risk of ruining the records you buy with the low-grade needles they come with. Look, this is a no-shame zone, even though I can be kind of judgy. So if you already own one of these, I'm not here to make you feel bad. They're perfectly fine my first record player experiences. But speaking honestly, if you're just getting started and you're really pressed for money, you might want to just delay your vinyl journey to focus on other things for the time being. My recommendation is that you save up and level up and get something you're going to be happy with long-term, and that sounds great. Okay, so you've decided to level up and get something, quote, nicer. Well, what does that look like, and what do you actually have to pay for nice? Well, to understand this spectrum, let's cheat and actually skip to the tier 3 options. Here's a dirty secret. However much money you have burning a hole in your pocket, there is a turntable priced for you. Seriously, there are some insane and also beautiful turntables out there. So-called audiophile setups can run into the tens of thousands of dollars, and I'm going to assume this isn't you. If you're curious, I personally have two Technics 1200 DJ turntables running into a nice mixer, which is running into a receiver, and then out to a set of mid-range but nice speakers. These Technics turntables are kind of legends. They're built to last and they're amazing, but all in with this mixer and the two decks, this can still run you well over $1,000 and still requires a receiver or AV system or amp to output the sound. Most people don't need this level of complication or costs. I'm just a bit of a spender. Assuming you're a sensible person and you don't want to spend over $1,000, and to be clear, I'm not recommending you spend over $1,000, I have some great news. There are some great affordable options out there that won't break the bank. Yes, these are going to set you back, often more than most folks are expecting when they have the idea to get into vinyl. But in my opinion, this really is this porridge is just right, mama bear kind of option for most people. A number of manufacturers such as Audio-Technica, Sony, Denon, and Project, among many others, offer reliable mid-range turntables that sound great and will honestly last you for ages. And there's even a spectrum on this tier that should be able to fit into a number of budgets, including yours. Okay, so the million-dollar question, where do I find these things? There are a lot of great options, but I often send friends to a site called Turntable Lab for options at this mid-tier. I've used this site a lot, and obviously I put a link in the description below this video. They are not a sponsor, so I'm not getting anything off these clicks, but hopefully they sponsor me soon. These are setups at a nice variety of price points, features, and even design options and colors. This might feel overwhelming, but it's hard to go wrong with any of the options in my opinion. I'd love to discuss your options in the comments. Again, this is by no means the only place to go for turntable setups. They also offer a pretty great selection of vinyl, both contemporary and classic, so you can pick up a few choice selections to go with your new turntable. It can be a one-stop shop if you want it to be. By the way, I want to clarify a few reasons I generally urge newcomers like you to really focus on getting in at this tier instead of going cheap, because I think there's some benefits that might not seem obvious when you're just looking at a price tag. 1. A majority of these units come with their own set of speakers, so you're still getting that desired all-in-one solution, it's just one that's going to sound a lot better. 2. Along those lines, these mid-tier solutions don't require additional equipment or an existing receiver like my setup does, so you can be enjoying your records minutes after unpacking the box. 3. These options are well made, should last you for years, and they won't destroy your records like some cheaper options, which, as you get further into this hobby, you will greatly appreciate. Records are not cheap. 4, and this is something most people don't think about, many of these actually have Bluetooth functionality built into the speakers, so you can also use them for music streaming from your phone if you're too lazy to put on a record on a given day. Look, it happens. Every day can't be vinyl day. Lastly, and most importantly, these units actually sound great in my experience. Going from something like a portable Crossley to a mid-tier setup like this will honestly be such a huge upgrade to your listening experience, even if it feels a little painful when you're window shopping and looking at prices. This is a hobby for enjoyment, so get something you'll actually enjoy. I am always a fan and a proponent of saving up and getting something that's actually going to last you instead of buying the cheap, easy option that you're going to want to replace in 6 months. Okay, so that's the 101 of getting into vinyl. It's not as daunting as you thought, right? But there's so much more to talk about. Clearly, there's endless hours of record content on YouTube. My content's the best though, so add me to your subscribe channels to teach the algorithm that this is great. And like the video if you liked it. I liked it. Okay, since this is a video for people who are into vinyl though, your job is to tell me your favorite album in the comments or recommend an affordable turntable setup you like. This hobby is really fun, so enjoy it and stay tuned to the channel for more. Also, no records were harmed in the making of this video. I'll see you soon, and thank you so much for watching. I'm Ryan, and this has been The Uneasy Romance.